Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL. Don't panic. Mate, it's a quick one. Famous last words. Just an update on where we are with the wild card and some thoughts that I've been having as we look at the landscape. We look at things going forward. In terms of fixtures, in terms of prices, in terms of transfers. You'll be looking at this current wildcard draft I have on the screen at the moment, going, what the feckin' hell are you doing, Desmond? It's not set in concrete by any manner or means, but I'm certainly going down a path. I do have some thoughts. I could stick with this. And I'll talk you through some of my thought processes on it. There are risks involved here, but there could be good rewards. Let me talk you through it. Might actually help me a little bit. Let's see if I can keep this 1 to 10 minutes. Highly unlikely. One of the things that has become very, very apparent as I've been going through this process, and I said it before the season kicked off, and then I've said it once or twice as we've seen where the points have been distributed throughout the team, or all of our teams, I guess, and in FPL in general. Is the 4-5-1 an option? Are we going back to a 4-4-2? Is 5 at the back a better option? Because I am telling you, I speak about my averages a lot that I look for, and I haven't put this in the spreadsheet yet, but I'll talk to the averages fairly broadly. It's really changed. It has changed so much. Is 3 game weeks a big enough sample size to draw any conclusions? Usually I'd say no. But let's I'll talk about the goalkeeper now. Listen, I've just put Petrovic in there at the moment. Let's just just have a little look. Just a bit of a money saving there. And at 4.5. Look, we'll start with goalkeepers. Let's just bring these up. We'll just start with goalkeepers. So I've got Petrovic in there at the moment. Obviously the Dubravka, who everyone's got 4 million on the bench. Bring up goalkeepers. As I say, I like to get a 4 average out of my goalkeeper. Currently, we've got Vicario there, top of the pile, averaging 7. Is that sustainable? No, you're not likely to get a goalkeeper with an average of 7 by the end of the season. That's going to flux and change, etc., etc. Currently, Petrovic, because I look for the 4 out of my goalkeeper, an average of 4. Petrovic is, find him now. There he is. Currently, Petrovic is sitting on just below the 4 average. But look at where those look at where his 6 and 5 have come out of. Wolves at home, fine. You'd be hopeful of a clean sheet there. Tottenham away, and the one where he hasn't returned has been the away loss to Liverpool, where I don't think anyone's going to go and get a clean sheet. Fixtures going forward. I mean, Bournemouth have just surprised me. They're just looking good. They're just looking very, very good, aren't they? But the fixtures going forward don't look bad, do they? Brighton home, Newcastle home. Newcastle haven't been pulling up any goal-scoring trees, really, have they? Leeds away, Fulham home, Crystal Palace away, Nottingham Forest home. Not too bad. Could be a few clean sheets in there. So I'm not saying Petrovic is the final decision, but if you look at any of the other goalkeepers and the likely gaps, by the end of the season, Sanchez has been doing well for me. Vicario's obviously been going quite well as well. So just at the moment, just going on the money saving, I wouldn't mind getting to Vicario, or maybe even back to Sanchez. But just for now, the money I think will be better used elsewhere in the team. You may revisit that, just briefly on that. One that really is worth talking about. So I've looked for an average of 4 out of goalkeeper. Petrovic is pretty much thereabouts on it. That's fine. It's the defenders is where the real problem is. Quite simply, if I bring up the list of defenders, now I look for an average of 5 out of my defenders. through swapping, changing fixtures, etc. I mean, at the moment, the defenders are outscoring the midfielders and the strikers. Now, if it was just the top 4 or 5, you'd be going, okay, yeah, that's just an anomaly. But this just goes on and on and on. The list before I get down to, 15. Look, it's ridiculous. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Still going, still going, still going. Right the way down there. That is crazy. It'd be almost harder to not get a 5 average out of a decent defensive unit at the moment than it would be to miss it. And if you actually look at some of the best ones, and DEFCON, let's be quite frank about it, DEFCON is the big driver of this. Not the only driver, it's not the only driver, but I'm just thinking I should change my own metrics. That I should actually be looking for 6 points out of as an average out of my defenders, because seriously, names in there, and then you've got like coming down to the likes of your Mitchells, your Diakites. Okay, Saliba injured, you'd expect him to be hitting close anyways. Burn, Ballard's injured now obviously, but up there with 18. Livramento, Munoz obviously has got some DEFCON and the attacking threat. Cucurella, Lacroix, Guihi, Tarkowski isn't even appearing there. Is he there? Oh, he's there. Who was in my original team, who has just had 1 clean sheet, but he's got DEFCON in 2 games, sitting there with 15. So Tarkowski was, comfortable, well, not comfortably, but hitting without really getting clean sheets, but because he's DEFCON, 15 points, and he got DEFCON in 3 out of 3. So DEFCON absolutely is massively impacting the game, and I think we have to start looking at forward back. I really, really do. So where I'm sitting at the moment, I've chosen these 5. Virgil, it pains me to say it, I was wrong. I didn't think he was going to be a DEFCON monster, but I think he's hit DEFCON in all his games. Liverpool have not been keeping clean sheets, but the fixtures would lead me to believe that they will start keeping clean sheets. And if we look again at his numbers, and the fixtures going forward, you can see there, there are some tough fixtures, but with that defence. But you've got Burnley, Everton, Crystal Palace, maybe Newcastle, Bournemouth. There are good fixtures there, and there's good fixtures there going beyond that as well. So although he is not at the moment hitting the average I want, one, it gives me a defender at that high price point. So I'm trying to spread this defence so I can kind of go anywhere I want with it, and indeed sometimes even play a 5 at the back. And it's actually quite tempting, and I'll talk about my team going out this week, how it might actually end up in a 5 at the back. But Virgil gives me that 6 million price point defender. He's a DEFCON monster, meaning Liverpool keep a clean sheet. He gets his 2 DEFCON. It's an 8-pointer. Even if Liverpool concede just 1 goal, it's a 4-pointer. His base, the base of these players now has just moved up. Choosing the right ones. Other defenders I've chosen in there. Sorry, I promised I was going to get through this quickly, but I consider Arsenal have got a great run of fixtures coming soon. So one of the other things I'm thinking about, because I'm having to wildcard early because of all those injuries and minutes risks, etc. Like I had Johnson. Johnson was chugging away nicely for me, but I can see he is totally going to be a minutes risk. So I had players that were doing quite well for me, but kind of have to go out because of that minutes risk. But is that defense is the key one. So in there, as I say, I've got most of the price points covered. I haven't got 5.5 covered. Working on that. I wouldn't mind Lacroix, Bean, Munoz, but it just starts to stretch the budget on other things that I'm thinking about. And as I said, the other thing I was thinking about is, Arsenal. Should bring in an Arsenal defender, especially if I'm playing for the fixture turn in 6 or 7, so I should go for Gabriel. But Gabriel isn't going to get DEFCON. He never does. No DEFCON for Gabriel. That may change. I can't see it changing, just the way he plays. So he starts, 2 points. Yeah, he keeps the clean sheet, and they will keep some clean sheets in that fixture run. But he's got a base of 6. I mean, it's 6. I mean, so he's got a ceiling of 6 unless he gets a goal. And there's always a chance he'll get a goal. But do I want that chance of someone like a Gabriel getting a goal? That he might, and he will at some point in the season. He will get a couple of goals across the season. Of course he will. But so will Virgil. And Virgil's ceiling on a regular basis is just going to be more consistent, I think, hitting some regular 8s. And who doesn't want that in their team from a defender, especially, as I say, when Liverpool do hit some of these better fixtures. So I'm going Virgil. Sinisi's just a no-brainer. I mean, Bournemouth have just played so well. Let me just bring him up here. His what's he got at the moment? So Sinisi, 25 points at the moment. Pretty sure he's hit DEFCON in every match. Sorry, missed that up. Hang on, come back. Sinisi. Yeah, so he's got his 25 points. He's done DEFCON every match. Average of 8. Yeah, and provided Bournemouth continue this bit of form. They have got the fixtures there, and we'll show this. I'll actually get all this into a spreadsheet once I've made the final tweaks on it. Absolute no-brainer. Similarly, I won't go into all of these, but good fixtures. I'm never keen on the defensive double up. I may change that. Can I get Tarkowski back somehow? Fine. Anderson, not as spectacular, but Fulham do tend to have one of the lowest expected goals against. Anderson does hit his DEFCON. So most of these defenders are more than comfortably hitting the 5-point average that I want from a defender, and some exceeding it by a lot. And then there's a couple there that I think that they're not quite hitting it, have the fixtures now that they will actually achieve it. I could very, very easily afford to, as I mentioned in my last video, it'd be very, very easy, to just take the top 5 defenders there: Calafiori, Chalobah, Timber, Sinisi, and Guehi, and very, very comfortably afford all of those. But I'm looking, as much as anything, affordability, those regular returns, and the fixtures are there for the future, as opposed to actually, I'm tempted by Chalobah, to be honest with you. Might have another look at that one. Timber could ultimately be a minute's risk, as could Calafiori. So what have we got there? What we've really got there is a mixture of, we've got in those top 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got your DEFCON boys and a couple of guys that have been getting some attacking returns as well. But largely then below that, consistently, it's the DEFCON boys. So I think we're going to be seeing a return. I think we're already seeing it, and I think it is a question of getting ahead of the curve, going back to the 4-4-2, or indeed 5-4-1. Something to think about. Watch this space. Midfield. Okay, I'm really struggling with this. Been frank. I'm actually going to. At the moment, I'm a little bit of gut instinct. We'll talk about Semenyo. Clearly a no-brainer given the fixtures at the moment. He's on fire. He's getting loads of chances, and the fixtures by and large are pretty good. They're pretty good. And again, I'll do the spreadsheet later in the week. Bruno, the guy is just going to get regular 8 and 9 pointers. He's just based on the way he plays. He's hitting DEFCON every week. He's on penalties. He's on set pieces. He will get assists. He will get the occasional goal. It is going to be just a consistent return from him, and his baseline now is 4 points, and it really is just a question of, do United, and maybe with a new goalkeeper, now that old chocolate wrists looks as though he'll lose his place. I don't know if he'll lose it immediately, but Bruno's just going to return you regular 6, 7, 8s, and then he's just going to get a return and bonus points, and all of a sudden there's going to be 12s or 13s. We'll see if I'm right. But what I did need in there, and that I was struggling sort of trying to work out what to do, I do need a player at that sort of price point that will make it easier for me to get to a Saka or a Palmer. That I may well want to do in a few weeks' time. So he's kind of in there as much for the points that I think I can get out of him, but and I don't have to play him every week, but for the having that price point where I can actually move to other players in that sort of higher price bracket, because that was one of the things I had in one of my earlier drafts, that there was just no one in that midfield that would make it easy to get to the Palmers or the Sakas, or maybe even the Salah. And it's not going to be easy, obviously, to get to Salah from Bruno, but it would be easier than trying to get from a 5 million or a 5.5 million, etc., or a 6.4 or a 7.3. So that's why he's in there. Now, so those would be sort of your two key midfielders that I'd be hoping will hit those averages. Semenyo's well ahead of those averages at the moment. Where's Bruno? Where is he? How many points has he got at the moment? 14. So he's well under, actually, at the moment. And he should have been well over, because obviously he had that missed penalty, which cost him points, and not obviously scoring the penalty, and obviously not getting his bonus. So he'd have been well up there with 2 big returns out of 3 games. So big slice of bad luck. Hopefully that luck will turn, and hopefully I will catch the Bruno wet sail. We'll see. We've come into, are these more controversial choices? I'll show you my lineup, and again, that's when I will talk this through a little bit with you. I've gone with Rodri. His last game, we played the full 90, and he shouldn't have. He was on DEFCON, or just shy of DEFCON, on 60 minutes. Then he faded. Hadn't played 90 for a long time. City faded. City lost the game. So he ended up with just 2 points. 2 points, I think it was. He will, I believe, and 1 or 2 other content providers are starting to latch onto this now. I've been talking about it for a wee while. I was talking about it before the season kicked off. Has the potential to be literally a 7 or 8 point average at 6.4 million, and maybe more. I do hark back to the season of 2 years ago, where he had something like what was it? It was a load of it. It was about 16, 17 attacking returns, 8 goals, 7 or 8 assists, something like that. But it was a significant return in its own right. He was averaging that season, and no one was picking him up. I nearly did. I thought, well, it's just not quite there, but he was averaging over 5 points per 90. Now, start adding DEFCON onto that at 6.4 million. That's an amazing enabler at 6.4 million. And there'll be games where he will have a big haul, where he will get that strike from outside the box, or provide an assist, get his DEFCON, keep a clean sheet. So I'm just backing, not so much a hunch, it is based on data, but as much just based on his performance in their last game, where he ran the show for 60. He had the highest passes, highest interceptions, highest tackles of anyone on the pitch. And then he faded, and he disappeared for the last 30. And of course, City lost the game. He's should be one of the most nailed on players in that City side. So I have taken Rangers out with reluctance, because I think Rangers are going to go very, very well. But I think on average, Bruno will consistently beat him over the course of a season. So at the moment, I think Rodri's nearly a lock-in for me. I think he's nearly a lock-in. Dewsbury Hall, listen, as part of 5 million, Everton are going well. He looks locked into that team. He looks as though he's going to get attacking returns. He may be on the bench more often than not. Really good bench option, though, especially when I do need rotations. And Harvey Elliott at 5.4. He's a really good player. Aston Villa have got really good fixtures. Would he start the next game? Not sure, but I'm not starting him the next game. I'm not starting the next game. Harvey Elliott is a really good player. I'm trying to save myself a few because of this early wild card. I'm trying to save myself down the line, further down the line transfers. I don't know if this is a wise move. It could prove to be a stroke of genius, or I could make myself look extremely stupid if I do this. Particularly as I've got Isak in there at the moment. And I guess the question becomes, will we really want Isak? Will we all be scrambling for Isak in a couple of game weeks, and his price will be going up, and we'll all want him? And how can you not think that Isak isn't going to get 20 plus goals? Been at the pointy end of that Liverpool attack. Don't know. It feels fraught with risk, but the rewards could be high just by getting him in early. And I'll talk about my team going out. I should actually just bring up the forwards here. Right, I have not got João Pedro in this team. Again, that feels risky. But he's off in Brazil. Did he take a big whack as well while he was away? Someone, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look at that. We'll just catch up on the internationals, any potential injuries. Don't like leaving João Pedro out. He has been playing really, really well. But I'm trying to. Technically, I suppose I brought Gyökeres in instead of João Pedro. Because I'm pretty sure I'll want Gyökeres on that fixture turn. So I guess the question is, in these next couple of fixtures, do I expect João Pedro to massively outscore Gyökeres? It saves me a transfer further down the track, or do I keep João Pedro in and bin Gyökeres in then? Undecided, but I believe it's going to save me a transfer further down the track. Similarly, Isak. I'm seriously thinking of starting him. If he gets any minutes at all for Sweden, he's either going to come on for Liverpool in the next game for 30 minutes, or he's not going to come on at all. I can't see Slot bringing him on for 5 or 10 minutes. Liverpool do actually score the vast majority of their goals. We've seen it. I don't even have to show you the stats on this in the last 30 minutes. Just the way they seem to play. It's like a Salah comes a lifetime. But other players as well, just getting those goals in the last 30 and especially in the last 10 or 5. And I think Isak could get 30 minutes in the next game. And I think he could bloody well score. And it means there'll be a mad scramble then for people to bring him in. And I've already got him in at 10.4. And it saves me a transfer because transfers are going to be like gold. And are the potential lost points less valuable than saving myself a transfer or two with Gyökeres and Isak, who may well return, or I can manage them into the team. And Haaland, yeah, I've got to have him for this. I'm not saying I am going to perma-captain him, but the fixtures are good, and he may well find himself with almost a perma-captain, so I'm not bloody points dodging at the moment. Although I haven't put this fully into the spreadsheet, I think, as I said, the last draft I did clearly showed a team that, with projections, sorry, I've gone by the past, that was, averaging 80 points per game. That's so easy to do at the moment. That doesn't mean it's going to continue to average 80 points per game. This side, its averages are much lower. I can account a little bit for Isak because Isak hasn't played any games. It's probably going to show about an average of about 63, 64, I think, my quick scribbles on paper projections. But obviously then with a captain's return, it'll start hitting that 70 points. Show you how I'm lining up at the moment for game week 4. Petrovic in goal, Brighton home. Yeah, I think fine. That back line, I think, actually looks great. I think there should be 1 or 2 clean sheets in there, we hope, and then a couple of DEFCON would comfortably hit my average. And who knows, an attacking return out of one of them. I will say, I think I do expect that the 5, including goalkeeper, to hit that 25 points. Let's see if I'm proven correct. But most of those defenders have got a baseline if they don't concede more than 2 of 4 points, 3 if they concede. Sorry, 3 points if they concede 2. But I do think there should be a clean sheet or 2 in there given those fixtures. 3-man midfield. Semenyo, Brighton at home, absolutely fine. Bruno, City away. It's a really hard one to call. That really is. I have to think about that. Do I need Bruno now? Do I just get Gapco in there? I'm really undecided there. But City are, they're not been defensively great. United will have some attacks. Looks like Cunha might be all right. Looks like Mbeumo might be all right. Bruno spraying 1 or 2 passes through to those boys could be all right. And if United put up a decent defensive, performance, who knows? United can pull one out of the bag. Of course, what I don't like here as well is that I do have 2 City. I've got Rodri. I hadn't spoken enough about Rodri. I would expect that he'll get his DEFCON in that match. He'll obviously get his 2 appearance points. Does he get anything more then on top of that is the question. Clean sheet point or an attacking return. I think I'm going to take the punt. Been talking about it long enough. Now I have to put me Rodri where my mouth is. Up front, okay. Gyökeres, Nottingham Forest home. Yeah, Nottingham Forest have been conceding in every game. Conceded 3 against West Ham. I have got no problem with that whatsoever. Having Gyökeres in early on that fixture. Haaland, Man United home, captain's armband. It'll hurt me as a United fan, but it just is the sensible pick, isn't it? I think Onana will probably still be on goals. I don't think they'll throw that young lad, straight into the cauldron of a Manchester derby. Onana in goals. Yeah, Haaland bearing down on him. Yeah, captain's armband, definitely. And then I guess is it stupid? Probably. If it pays off, is it genius? Probably not, just luck. But if Isak will play he won't start. He might get 30 minutes. If he doesn't get 30 minutes, I cannot see Slot bringing him on and risking him for like 10 minutes. Can't see that happening. So if Isak doesn't play at all, then I've got Richards with Sunderland at home. DEFCON, really decent chance of clean sheet. You never know with Richards; he gets his head on 1 or 2 occasionally. Potential points there. Then of course Dewsbury Hall, Villa home could put him up in his first sub. Elliott, Everton away. Doubt he'll get a full start. But that's not a bad bench, and this is one of the things I do like about this going forward. If I stay with this, I've got the ability to move, given the fixtures, within any formation. Whether it's 5-4-1, 4-4-2, 3-4-3. I've got that ability, especially as we see how DEFCON's affecting things, how these midfielders, doing what I expect them to do in terms of their DEFCON and in terms of their numbers, hitting my averages. The team itself, as I say, I think looks good. I like the balance of it. I think the big question is here, am I taking too big a risk in having some of these players in early and saving myself 2 or 3 transfers by about game week 7? That is the question. I haven't answered it yet. What do you think? Let me know what you think in the comments. It's kind of where I'm sitting. I think the big takeout of this, though, is what I talked about at the beginning. It's a seismic shift, folks. It is a seismic shift. I think we are going to see. I think the new normal is going to be 4 at the back, sometimes 5. If this trend continues, you saw how far I had to go down that list of defenders, still showing averages of 5 or 6. That is way too much to be a coincidence. That's likely to continue, and I suspect, because in the second half of the season, we're a long way from that yet, the goals tend to be fewer. Defenses tend to be a bit tighter in the second half of the season. We saw that last year, and indeed the season before. So we're seeing more goals at the moment, and we're still seeing these defensive numbers. in the second half of the season, I think it's going to get even more pronounced. We'll see. Long way to go. But I know I've got to get this wild card right, because once it's locked in, it's do or die. It's do or die. And I need to, obviously, 3 million at the moment. It's actually not a disaster as I look at the FPL landscape. It's not a disaster. It's absolutely not where I want it to be, of course. But we do need to start see some green arrows now, and sort of by game week 10, 15, be well inside that top 1 million. And this is going to form the foundation of achieving that, getting this to say this into the spreadsheet, maybe adjusting those averages. Maybe I should be starting to look for a 6 average out of my defenders, and 6 out of my midfielders, and 7 out of my strikers. But the averages as a whole have been so low in FPL. You know, the actual scores, the weekly average game score, and as many of us have been struggling, you know, just to get a 50 or a 60. We haven't been hitting the 70s and the 80s with any sort of regularity, have we? And I say that is largely down. That's why I don't have any fear about leaving Salah out, and I'm going Haaland, because I think, yes, well, Salah's not been doing it, and we haven't been having those regular caps and hauls on our numbers. So we got to get the points somewhere else. I think that's the big takeout. I'll leave it at that. What do you think in the comments? Take care. Have fun. Play your own game. I'll be back where are we now? Saturday. Let some more of these international matches go by. Make any final adjustments on this that I need to. And see where we land in about a week's time. See you soon. Bye-bye.